Welcome, and I hope it's as beautiful a fall day where you are as it is here. It is gorgeous right now. And today's video is going to be about Rick Owens T Shirts. For most people, and myself included, a t-shirt from Rick Owens is going to be the first top that you buy. It's a little more affordable, and if you're like me, you wear a t-shirt at some point here every day. We're going to look at t-shirts across the collections in various styles, various fits, looking at how to style those different silhouettes. What we're not going to look at in this category are anything without sleeves. So tank tops, Dylan shirts, I'm counting in that category, and things like that will be covered in a future video. So first, let's go over the different features. For neckline, we've got raw neckline versus ribbed neckline. For the hemline of the shirt, we've got hemmed versus a rolled hemline. For the sleeves, we've got raw edge versus rolled edge versus a hemmed edge and a ribbed edge on the long sleeve t-shirts. For the back seam, we've got the symmetrical back seam or the straight down the back seam, or you've got the asymmetrical seam. For the shoulders, you got the seams on the top of the shoulders, or we've got the clavicle seam over the shoulder. In terms of materials, what I have are 100% silk, different varieties of cotton jersey fabric, and then there's various viscose and silk blends. And then in one instance, I've got French terry. This is a small, and it's pretty generous in the chest and the trunk. It's more of a boxy, short fit that sits at about the hip. It's one of the more versatile fits. I think it works best with long pants. In my experience, trying to pair it with, the longer shorts or things like that, to me, it's just a little bit off balance. I've seen it styled that way on different e-shops and things like that, and it looks all right in the pictures if they're shot from a low angle, but if you see it in real life, kind of shot from eye level, the proportions are just off. So in terms of conventional styling, this is going to work very well with a high-waisted trouser or even kind of a mid or low-waisted. It's going to give you, a lot of your block up top, and then you'll be able to kind of taper down to your hips and to your legs. And it's a conventional fit, but it's always going to work. Now let's take a look at this shirt. Now this is almost the opposite of the previous shirt, the level T, and it is super tight. This is a small also, but it's a completely different fit. In terms of features, instead of having the clavicle seam, it has shoulder seams at the top where a traditional shoulder seam might be. And then in terms of the sleeve hems, and then in terms of the hem at the bottom, it is a rolled hem. In terms of fit, this one is longer and it's very skinny. I mean, skin tight on me. A little bit more than 3 inches closer to the body than the short level T. So that is a huge difference. I mean, it's skin tight. You can see your pecs, you can see your ribs, and it hugs the body all the way down. It goes past the hip. With some of the roomier shorts like the pod shorts and the basket swingers, because it's such a tight fit, it will go around your hips and around your butt. If you've got kind of muscular thighs or a butt or hips, it's going to reduce the volume at that point. So it's going to constrict the shorts and alter the silhouette, give you a really thin top line moving down and then letting that volume come out a little bit more at your thighs and below the knees. So it's going to give you really a super long waist. So that's one thing it's going to do. Another thing it's going to do is be super close to the body so that you can wear a jacket that's very close to the body, like the Geo jacket that I've got in ram leather, or any of Rick Owens's bombers or leather jackets that are very close in the shoulders. And because it is so tight, it's not going to pull or kind of wrinkle up or get caught underneath a really tight jacket, so that's useful. Regarding the rolled hem at the bottom, it's just a raw edge that kind of rolls up itself. You can roll it down or you can roll it up. It'll just kind of fold up into itself. It doesn't create a lot of bulk, but it gives you a little bit more versatility there. So that's pretty cool. Next, let's take a look at this one. I'm not exactly sure what you'd call this one. It has a pretty traditional fit overall. The main feature with this shirt from the Babel collection is that it is 100% silk. So it's sort of a material difference. In addition to that, it has raw edge sleeves, and it also has a raw edge hem and traditional shoulder seams kind of in the regular place where they might be. I think what the raw edges do is give it a feeling of minimalism. There are as few stitches as you could put in a t-shirt in this t-shirt, more or less, at least kind of in the unbound edges. And it just, along with the silk and the material, the way it moves, it just kind of moves in the breeze. It's very much a summer shirt. And the length changes on it as you wear it. So once you get it out of a machine wash, it's going to be its shortest. And then as you wear it throughout the day and throughout the humidity, I was skateboarding at this the other day, and it can change as much as 6 inches in terms of kind of the width and the length of it. And so it just kind of gets more open, gets more airy, gets a little bit longer. It's a great effortless top layer. And what I've noticed also with this is because it is 100% silk, you can get a little bit of contrast between maybe 100% ribbed cotton tank underneath it and then 100% silk on top. That difference in texture and material and weight comes through, so you can layer with it and that'll work for you. Next, let's take a look at a long sleeve shirt. So this is a t-shirt that would be more or less in kind of the regular perfect middle ground length and width. It's actually the same more or less that I'm wearing now. Both are from the 19 fall winter Larry collection. Both are dark shadow, and they're both made of kind of a jersey blend that just moves really easily, almost like water. It's got the clavicle seams and a centered seam down the back along the spine. It's got a hemmed waist or a hemmed hemline to be redundant, but basically what that does is it gives it more of a clean finish, and it's gonna stay put. You can kind of bunch it up onto your hips, or it can go past your hips as like what I'm doing now. It's about 30 inches in length. Both of these are smalls and about 19 to 20 inches in width. So overall, a very comfortable fit and something that can be a little bit longer if you're wearing pants, or it even goes well with shorts because it's just got that good in-between length where it's never going to be too short and it's not going to be as long as a long level line tee. Additionally, I'd point out is that it has these ribbed hems at the ends of the arms, and kind of like his bomber jackets, the length of the ribbing is maybe just a little bit thinner and extended. That kind of gives it a nice look. Armholes are sitting high in the trunk of the shirt as well. You're going to have those 14-inch seam-to-seam shoulders, at least in the small, and then a little bit more open in the chest. So again, framing that top half or top 1/5 well, and getting some drape from there. And so this is the long level line tee as it's usually referred to, and this is a beater that I got on Grailed, and it's from fall winter 16, and I think they are still producing them this way, but basically what it has is it has sort of this, not a raw neckline, but it's a neckline sort of like on some of the other tees where it's just another piece of jersey fabric that is draped over the neckline and then sewn in. Just gives it a little bit of a rough edge there instead of a ribbed knit. And you know, hemmed finish on both of them. This is tagged medium, but it's still got a 14-inch shoulder to shoulder. It's much more open in the chest. It's probably 20 plus, maybe 20 and a half or something like that inches in the chest. And then it's even going to be wider at the very base of it. But the main feature with this is it's open at the bottom, so creating sort of an A-line shape so it can go over something a little bit more voluminous, like some of the droopy shorts and things like that. and not get hung up. So it's just gonna sort of stay like that. And this one is about 33 inches in length, so the longest of all of the shirts. In terms of proportions, I think this one is going to go best with some of the shorts. Unless you're really tall and you've got really long legs, and the proportionality just isn't quite right in terms of conventional proportions, because it's just going to sort of take over and then you've got your little legs coming out, which is just a little bit odd. But if you've got the shorts coming out the bottom of it with a little bit of volume, and it's got some width, and it's just taking up a little more space and sort of finishing that line with a lot of drape, typically that's how you're going to see it styled, and it works. Jumbo tees. I have two. One is jersey from Performa, and then this one is a dark shadow French terry jumbo sort of sweatshirt tee from fall winter 19. And I hate to admit it, but I haven't really cracked the code on how to style these, and it may just be because I'm 5'8", and maybe it just feels like the silhouette, because it is so big, needs to be a little bit higher off the ground. And I find it makes me look a little bit like an Oompa Loompa if I'm trying to wear this and then wear some, big baggy shorts as well. It's incredibly comfortable and I want it to work. It has almost like a mock turtleneck neckline, ribbed, that goes pretty high up and it fits tight. And then I'm not going to measure it, but it's around the same 14-inch shoulder to shoulder. So the shoulders are going to end about here and then start draping really before the shoulder ends. And the sleeves are going to be big, and that's probably a sleeve that is about 1/4 the length of your arm. And so it's going to go more sleeve than any of the other t-shirts that we've seen. And then, this one's just going to drape. I find that the heavy material, it holds its shape. And I think that is a bit of a more flattering fit, and it's incredibly comfortable. So I tend to pair this just with some of the cropped Tyrone pants that fit really close to the body, and then a pair of boots, and it's all black. It all sort of works together. This is the one that is in the jersey fabric, and all of the same things that I said about the French terry holds true for this one as well. The difference is the weight of the fabric and how it moves. So little to no resistance in the fabric, and it's very much similar to the way this fabric moves. Clavicle seams, hem, and a seam along the back that's going to run straight down all the way. And I guess what I found with this is, because there's no structure to the fabric, it just sort of collapses around you and doesn't really make for too much of a silhouette. If you are taller, I think that this could sort of be a more exaggerated version of the short level tee, in that it's going to give you a lot of volume around the trunk, which you can taper down on the lower half. But for somebody who's maybe under 6 feet, I think it begins to things become a little fuzzy. Things become a little bit indistinct in terms of proportion. That said, it's a fun one to play with, and it's been a bit of a puzzler for me, but the challenge is fun. Although I am selling this, you should buy this off my Grail. So here is a t-shirt from the Tequatool collection, and it is made in what is referred to as the unstable cotton, which just means that it's very open weave. It is going to deteriorate over time. That's part of the design. It will get little holes, and then it'll, like the 100% silk tee, it's going to telescope throughout the day. So when you first get it out of the wash, all those fibers are gonna be constricted, and then as you wear it throughout the day, it's gonna open up in the shoulders, it's going to get some extra length in the body, and depending on how you dry it, if you lay it flat, it's gonna retain that constricted sort of shape, or a little bit more of an even shape. Or if you want to go ahead and start the day with that longer length, you can hang dry it, just hang it by its shoulders. It has conventional shoulder seams, And like almost all of the unstable cotton tees, it has an asymmetrical seam that runs along the back. And these are a bit of a blessing and a curse. The more you wash the shirt, the more it's gonna wrap around, and depending on which one you get, it can really change the fit of the shirt and the way that it sits on your body. Not such a big deal for this shirt, but the Dylan shirt and another shirt that I'll show you, it really screws up the clavicle seams and it over rotates the right shoulder down and inward. And you can, if it's the Dylan tee, it's gonna move that V way over to the left. And so I really think twice when getting things with the asymmetrical seam in the back. There's one shirt that I just don't even wear because the clavicle seams are so lopsided that it just puts me off and it's weird. So I only wear it to layer. And then the Dylan tee, I love the unstable cotton. It's really a great material for the summer, but it swoops so far over to the left. So here's an example of the asymmetrical seam gone horribly wrong. And I've tried to correct this by drying it in different ways and kind of tugging here and there, and have had other people try it on and things like that. This is an egregious example, the only one I've seen yet, but still, you know, it can happen. So you can see here that the right shoulder is just, you know, completely pulled in and down, and it's just way kind of cattywampus. The badge is really sitting in the middle of the shirt rather than on the left side, and so it's really, you know, changing and just changing the shirt. So it could happen. I'd really love to know what the function of the asymmetrical seam is. If anybody knows, please put it in the comments because I am curious. But that's something that I've noticed with that particular design feature. Other than that, this has raw sleeves and a raw hem. And you can see that some of that degradation is starting to take place, and it's, you know, starting to get pulls down here at the hemline, which I think is fun. You know, I think that's pretty cool. So here is a shirt that is silk and viscose. This is actually an extra small, and it is oversized from the mainline fall winter 2019 Larry collection in milk, and it has clavicle seams and everything is hemmed and stitched, asymmetrical line in the back. And yeah, I haven't had too much trouble with this one in terms of shoulder balance or creating an imbalance like that. It is cool to the touch, and it's just a nice draping material, perfect for winter, perfect for summer as well. No problems either way. And again, it's one of those materials that sort of expands and contracts as you wash it and wear it. In terms of sizing, this one is pretty typical in its kind of recently washed state. You know, it hasn't been worn and hasn't kind of gotten longer, but it has about 13.5, 14 inch from shoulder to shoulder, about 20 inches, I'd say, from pit to pit. Yeah, and then about 30 inches in length, which all those dimensions are pretty typical. Although I guess actually now that I say that, those are all typical dimensions for some of the small level tees or the medium length level tees, and this is an extra small, so there you go. It's a great shirt. I've noticed that the silk viscose blends are a little bit fragile and prone to pilling, so getting a little bit of roughness or lint on there, and so they're a touch more fragile, and I think they are happiest when they are paired with lightweight nylon materials because there's just a lot less friction there, and these might want to be a little bit delicate with in the wash and how you dry them. So that's about it for the t-shirts in my collection. I've showed you how to style them, the different materials, the different dimensions, and some of the different features on the shirts. So there's a surprising amount of variety, a lot of fun you can have playing with them. Check the dimensions before you buy, but at least you'll know a little bit of the spectrum of the Rick Owens t-shirts and the silhouettes that they work with. A huge thank you to Big MURPH, who came back in to the videos and who was interested in t-shirts last time. And thanks so much to you. And don't subscribe, and I'll make you another video as soon as I can. So, as usual, it's a production in extreme silliness. We've done some serious bushwhacking, and we've got the line set up, and this absurd rig, got the tire off, got the spare bike set up, and here it is. This device, a crank. There she goes. Oh gosh, did the cat get it? Oh no. What a production. Quality every time.